Hey guys, it's Heather. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about night shift nursing, mainly my limited experience and then some tips and tricks that I picked up. So just to go ahead and get started, I work on a med-surg tele floor, as some of you may or may not know. And for the first 6 months that I worked on that floor, I was on night shift. I originally was supposed to be on that shift for about 1.5 years, but I got the opportunity to go to days and I decided to take it. So just to talk about night shift is really daunting for a lot of people. It was daunting for me. It's just a complete, flip-flop of your schedule, of your life, of your sleeping habits, and it can be a little bit scary, but this is just going to be, some tips on how to survive it. I think most nurses have had to work night shift at one point or another, and it's really not as scary as it seems initially. So basically, the biggest thing with night shift is, when do I sleep? What do I eat? How do I acclimate? Things like that. So first off, let me just say, from my perspective, my night shift was 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Some people who work 8-hour shifts, that could be like just 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. It just kind of depends on your facility. But for me, it was 12-hour shifts, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So whenever I first started doing night shift, I found that the biggest thing that helped me the most right off the gate was sticking to a routine and trying to do the same thing every time that I worked a shift. I found that if I went to bed at different times every day that I worked, just that threw me off completely. My body wasn't able to adjust because it was already doing something foreign to it, but let alone not sleeping at the same time. Usually if you work a day shift job, you kind of have a routine of what you do when you get off of work, when you go to bed, things like that. So in my opinion, being on night shift shouldn't be any different. So that's one of my biggest tips, is stay on a routine. Go to bed at the same time. If you work out after a shift every time, work out every time, go to bed, eat, whatever that you do. For me, I found that the thing that worked best for me was going to bed pretty much as soon as I got home. I would usually eat a little small meal or a snack or something, and then I would go to bed. I found that if I stayed up too much later after I got home from work, I got like a second wind, a second energy, and I would not be able to sleep. So for me, staying on a routine, staying on a schedule is so important. Along with that, obviously, if you can stay on night shift even on your days off, that's immensely helpful. That's not realistic for most people. Most people's friends and family don't have a night shift job, but if you do happen to have, most of your friends, your family, your spouse, whatever, they are on night shift as well. Stay on night shift as much as you can, because that it's obviously going to help your body acclimate and adjust to that. The other piece of advice that I would have is to adapt your environment the best you can to being conducive to sleeping during the day. Get some blackout curtains. I got blackout curtains for my room, and that really, really helped. Even though I'm on day shift now, I still use the blackout curtains because I just love them so much. It's so much easier to sleep. Even if it's just a street light outside, get some blackout curtains to make your room as dark as possible. I will put a link in the box below of some that I bought from Amazon that worked really well. For me. Along with that, the second thing is to do something to decrease background and outside noise, especially if you're like me and you live in an apartment. People are outside all the time. There's people coming to do landscaping, things like that. So I found that for me, getting a noisemaker, like a white noise app on my phone, really helped me to sleep. It drowned out the background noise. It relaxed me. That is something that I really highly recommend getting. Find a sound that's soothing to you. Some of them to me were a little bit abrasive and actually did the opposite, but I found a couple of like water type noises that really helped to relax me and help me sleep. The third thing on that is letting your friends and your family know how important your sleep is. Don't call you, don't text you, don't come over when they know that you're trying to sleep because you have to go to work that night. I've even had things where I've known people that have put like signs on the door that say like day sleep, or don't knock, don't ring the doorbell. Things like that, so that people know, like if it's just the postman or UPS or something, to not knock, because I found that when you're trying to sleep at a strange time for your body, you tend to be a much lighter sleeper than you would be if you were sleeping at night, and any little noise will wake you up. I had to put my phone on do not disturb because I found that even just a vibration from a text message would wake me up out of a sleep when it was during the day. So really let your friends and family know how important your sleep is to, to your success and your well-being as a person and as a nurse. If you need, to have a fan on, if you need the room cooler, if you need the room warmer, sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error to figure out what works best for you, but really listen to your body. Another thing along with that, guys, is I found a lot of people tend to not get enough sleep on night shift. They tend to come home, they'll sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and then they'll get up at noon or 1 p.m. and go run errands. And I mean, that might work for you, but I feel like when you think about it, would you get up at 2 a.m. before you have to work a day shift and, go run errands if something happened to be open? No, that sounds crazy. So for me, it's the same thing on night shift. If you wouldn't get up at 2 a.m. for a day shift, I don't think you should get up at 2 p.m. for a night shift. It's just not enough sleep. You're putting your body at risk. You're putting your patients at risk by not sleeping enough. So I would recommend doing what you would do on a day shift and trying to get at least, set 6 or 7 hours of sleep. I find that I have to have 7 hours of sleep at least to be able to function. And so that's what I strived for when I was on night shift. I would go to sleep by 8:30 or so, and I would try to be up by 4 or 4:30, or I'd try to sleep until 4 or 4:30. To be able to get enough sleep for the night shift. Obviously, it's a lot harder to sleep during the day. Some people choose to do things like melatonin or Benadryl. I personally never did those things just because I tend to be sensitive to those kind of medications, and I will wake up really groggy, and I'm kind of in like a fog for the rest of the night. So for me, those non-pharmaceutical interventions like the blackout curtains, the white noise, are what worked for me. Another thing to help you be successful on night shift is to eat well. On night shift, we had so many potlucks and so much food around all the time, and it was so tempting to eat all the things that people brought, all the cookies, all the chips, everything like that. But don't let yourself fall into that habit. Every once in a while is okay, obviously, but I found, especially on my floor, we just had it constantly. Every other day, somebody would be bringing in something for some reason. It's somebody's birthday or something this or something that. And while you want to celebrate, your friends and your coworkers, it can be so easy to fall into bad eating habits, which is not going to help you sleep. It's not going to help you have energy, and it's not going to help your health and your lifestyle in the long run. If you have to bring something, be that good Samaritan who brings a veggie tray or a fruit tray or something like that. But if you're not going to bring something for everybody that's healthy, bring something healthy for yourself. You need something that is I feel like you need something that's gonna be light on your stomach, but it's also gonna provide you with energy and protein. So I would bring something like an apple with almond butter or nuts or something like that wasn't heavy, that didn't weigh me down and make me sleepy, but it gave me energy, it gave me good nutrition. I also feel like eating a bigger meal before I came in was better for me. On day shift, I can't really eat something really big before work just because I'm not hungry enough. I don't really have the time either. But on night shift, I had a little bit more time, so I would eat a more meal-like meal, and that helped me not feel as hungry, not have the desire to snack all the time. Drinking lots of water obviously is key no matter what shift you're on. Another thing is limiting your coffee. That's something that's going to keep you up during the day and not help your sleeping schedule. I found a good alternative that still has some caffeine, but it's not as crazy as coffee, is some tea. Even I would do the decaffeinated tea just because the act of drinking something warm like that made me think that I was getting some caffeine even though I wasn't, and it helped me feel like I said, I was getting the caffeine. So it's really important to watch your nutrition and everything. Also, keeping active. Don't just sleep all day on your days off. Keep active, keep out in the sun, keep doing things. Try to live your life, with being active as much as you can. Some of my tips for just actually being on the job is, one of the things I found is people, they always say people don't really sleep on night shift, and that's true most of the time. You'll occasionally have a dream, group of patients where everybody sleeps, but a lot of times that's not the case. You get a lot of admissions at night. You get a lot of people who are anxious at night. They can't sleep. They're in a strange environment. Their families have probably gone home a lot of times by then. So I found that by, really letting your patients know what the plan of care is, communicating with them what the unit procedure is, like we do vital signs every 4 hours. We'll have to wake you up at midnight and 4 a.m. You have an antibiotic due at 2 a.m. If you're asleep, I'll try not to wake you up, but I'll have to check your wristband and turn on the IV pump and things like that. I feel like that really helps decrease the anxiety. It also helps to decrease any aggravation they might have, because they know ahead of time that they are going to get woken up. You try very hard to let your patients sleep at night, but they're in the hospital and it's a 24-hour business, it's a 24-hour facility, it's a 24-hour job. it's not capable to get sleep all the time throughout the whole night. So getting your assessments done early, try to get them done by 9 p.m. before they're really starting to get tired and want to get settled in for the night. It's better to do your assessment when you have daylight around you, when you have the patient still awake and alert, and you can really assess their mentation and things like that. So yeah, those are my main tips for night shift, guys. Let me know if you have any specific questions about anything in the comments below. I'm going to be doing a video about interview tips next, so keep on the lookout for that. If you have anything specific about interviews that you want me to address, just let me know, and I will talk to you guys very soon.